Hey guys, so it's an interesting video on Wild Rift. So we're back with a Varus commentary guide. Now, I know that recently, it's not too long since we did our last Varus video, of course talking about how Varus is pretty underrated, underestimated, and how he is still a really good pick. And continuing with that trend, I am still picking Varus quite a bit. So anyways, before we talk any further, you guys can see we're already getting to a small skirmish in the bottom lane right off the bat. Now of course, we have an Akshan ADC, and I've actually seen this like a couple of times recently. As I did mention quite a number of times, Akshan ADC is not really the best. He's meant to be a mid laner and designed in that way, and really doesn't work too well in the ADC role. But anyways, we are against both Kraken Slayer Akshan and Kraken Slayer Senna, so we do have to be wary of that true damage, especially in the early stages of the game, where that can be an issue. So the thing about Varus in this matchup is they do have an Ahri, Set, and Wukong, all of which can catch you really easily, so you have to stay kind of really safe in the backline. But I'm kind of counting on the fact that Pantheon, Akali, and Jack will be going in and kind of distracting them from really caring too much about me, hopefully. So yeah, and of course, as you guys can see from the title, it's really no surprise that somewhere along in this game, there is going to be a Baron steal. And really, that Baron steal is kind of the main reason why I decided to post this as a video, because we recently just did a Varus guide, and there really isn't quite a reason to do it again. So here, Nami hits a bubble. I managed to get 2 autos in the Akshan. My Q was down unfortunately, so here, I finally have my Q up, launch it straight at the Akshan. He's 1 HP. Doesn't actually end up flashing out. Nami tries to go in, gets exhausted by the Senna, bubbles the Senna in return, and Akshan actually flashes forward to go for the kill onto the Nami, and I do actually end up picking up both the double on both of them. So literally, in that exchange, every single summoner in the bot lane was popped. Literally everybody's flash, everybody's like barrier, exhaust, ignite, whatever, etc. all was popped. Every single summoner was popped in the exchange. Nami ends up dying, but I end up killing both the enemy bot lane. So overall, still a favorable trade for us. So that kind of starts the snowball rolling for me. I got 2 kills, and of course, it's gonna help me get to my item breakpoints faster. Now, Varus is really not the strongest early game champion. You kind of need 3 items to really do decent amounts of damage. Of course, you're going for Lethality Varus, which is more focused on poking rather than actual DPS. So you gotta first get your Mirror Mana, you got your Yomu's Ghostblade, and your Seralda's Grudge before you really start to actually do meaningful damage. Of course, after you round it off with the Edge of Night and the Garen Angel. And for the runes, you actually take Airy, you take, I'm not sure if I took, you take like Triumph, Weakness, or Champion, depending on what you prefer. And of course, Nullifying Orb and Hunter Genius as well. I think I took Weakness in this particular game. But anyways, yeah, so you're not really the strongest in the early game, so getting kills early is going to be really good. So back on with that trend. Here I'm trying to get another early game kill. Now unfortunately, Akshan's passive procs, and he actually manages to escape with his life, and he actually ults the Nami for the kill. Of course I can't block for her because I'm really low myself. So that kind of went a little bit south there. I thought that was a really easy catch onto the Akshan, but unfortunately Akshan used his E to proc the passive, and I wasn't quite able to completely finish off the kill. 1 more auto would have done it, but a little bit unlucky there. You know, these things happen. We're not gonna let it get to us too much. So here Pantheon is in our lane. I think he's actually trying to go on either Senna or Akshan, both of which are really low, of course. But instead they have all recall. So what we're gonna actually do here is we're going to pick up some tower plates, or a tower plate. So here Wukong comes in, and he's pretty much by himself. I actually end up rooting the Akshan instead of the Wukong, so Akshan cannot follow up at all. So Wukong ends up going in 1v3 and basically ends up inting his life over to us. So our 3rd kill of the game, again getting ourselves. So here I tried to snipe the Akshan, but I ended up hitting the Senna instead. So we don't quite get the kill onto the Akshan. Now I'm out of mana. Varus runs out of mana really easily. So you're gonna see me recalling quite a number of times just to pick up some mana, but as I complete the recall channel, Akshan actually managed to ult the Nami, get a reset on his E, and get a double kill onto the Pantheon. Now honestly, whether I canceled recall or not, it wasn't actually really important there at all, because even if I was there, I had 0 mana, I can't cast any spells. The only thing I can really do is auto attack and flash. So I really don't think I'd be contributing anything there, except perhaps to Akshan's economy, so maybe it was even for the better that I did manage to complete my recall instead of actually sticking around in the area. Alrighty, so unfortunately, the bot lane, despite me getting a bunch of kills, Akshan has also managed to pick up a bunch of kills. He picked up the double there, and he got a kill, I think, early on the Nami as well. So, despite me actually having 3 kills, I believe Akshan has 3 kills as well, just that I don't have any deaths, whereas Akshan does. But, yeah, so here in the early game, we are, of course, going for the Infernal Dragon. We do have a Pantheon who is really strong in the early game, and we do have the utility of Varus. So Varus is great when it comes to Dragon and Herald fights, because you have that ultimate that can spread to everybody on the enemy team if they all come and try to contest, or if you're walking into the enemy team, etc. Here you can see I ult the Senna to prevent her from joining the fight, finish her off with a quick arrow, and then we're going to finish off the Akshan as well with the help of the exhaust. Here Wukong's coming in. Here, I'm really low, so I'm going to walk far back. I'm going to try to help out with a long-range snipe. Now, they do actually manage to pick up the kill on the Wukong already. Otherwise, that arrow would have done it anyways, so Wukong goes down as well. So here, basically, with everybody dead, of course, Senna did already respawn. Still pretty early on in the game. Respawn timers are pretty quick, but I still do have enough time to pick up a plate or two. There you see I got 1 full plate's worth of gold. I pick up another full plate's worth of gold. Now here, I know that Senna's already on the way walking back to the lane, and she does of course have that root, which could potentially kill me if I get CC'd. So my here, of course this is a replay so you can see, my finger was on the flash, and I was already aiming my flash. If I see that root coming out, I'm gonna immediately flash that root, because if I get hit by that, I'm dead for sure. So anyways, we have another beautiful start to the game, same as like in our last video with Xayah. We start off 5-0, pick up our Manamune as well as our Yomu's Ghostblade. Of course, we're still going to take quite some time to evolve it to the Mirror Mana. Varus does take quite a bit of time to get the evolution, unlike someone like Ezreal. So here, of course, we're back into the lane. Wukong took the Herald for Dragon trade, so there really isn't a Herald fight. So when the trade happens, generally after the Dragon / Herald, it's gonna go back to a bot lane 2v2. Now I say that right as Wukong tries to show up. Now they do have a wave to dive with, but I do have my ultimate. So here they do summon Rift Herald. The Pantheon comes in, and it's becoming a 3v3 between the bot jungle trio. So here Akshan again channels ultimate. Actually does like quite a bit of damage, but doesn't of course finish Nami off, considering she's basically at full health. Akali comes in, trades 1 for 1. I get the root off onto Akshan. Here I'm just auto-attacking him down, finish off the kill onto the Akshan. Root does spread to Wukong and Ahri, so here is a demo of how strong Varus ult really is. I get hit by Ahri's charm, but I do actually manage to lose an arrow at the Wukong, but unfortunately for me, he lives on 1 HP. So we take what we can get. And here we're just going to clear out the bot lane. And here I was actually thinking of recalling after we clear out the bot lane, but seeing as Pantheon is actually on the way down, like he was initially recalling as well, but I thought he was going to recall, which is why I backed away. But now he's on the way down, so we have 3 people easily can simply just take the tower without too much risk, and we do end up picking up the bot lane tower. So here the game is really even at this point. Both teams have picked up the bot lane tower. Both teams are basically only 1k gold apart, negligible gold difference. Enemy team picked up the Herald, whereas we picked up the Dragon, so slight advantage there towards my team. But yeah, so it's a really even game. You can see that not everybody's having the best game. Nami is like 0-4, whereas I'm like 6-0. So it's not like our entire team is fed. The game is really even, so we have to of course be wary of that. And just because we are fed doesn't really mean that our team is fed or anything like that. So it's up to us to carry our team and bring home the victory for our team. Unfortunately for our team though, they're all dying in the top lane, and instead of going over to the top lane, I'm gonna just actually trade the lives of basically like 3 team members for a mid lane tower. Now, is that a worth it trade? Probably not, but you know, at least we did end up trading for something. So picking up mid lane tier 1 is pretty huge because it does open up the map for us, so maybe it is. I don't know, depends on the way you see it. Anyways, we're gonna rotate back down to bot to simply just clear out the wave. The second Rift Herald is going to be spawning, but seeing as my whole team really just died, I don't see a reason to contest it. So here I'm pinging retreat, and I'm just going to actually just farm up the jungle, because everybody's going to walk into the Rift Herald 1 by 1, and I really don't think it's a good idea to contest it now. But either way, my team decides to go and contest it anyways. Enemy team does end up picking up the Herald. Fortunately, there hasn't really been an engage yet from either side, so the fight doesn't actually end up breaking out, which is basically the best case scenario for me and my team. I'm able to recall, pick up the last Whisper. You guys can see already, I have the Mirror Mana finally. I have the Youmuu's Ghostblade. I also picked up the Stasis together with the Lucidity Boots, of course for my safety, with 3 backline divers onto me. Stasis is pretty important. Yeah, so here it looks like something is going to happen in the mid lane, but doesn't really quite happen in the end. So here 2 resets coming out from my team before the dragon. We are all of course going to just reset and then head on over to the dragon. So here I'm only at 2 items and 1 boot enchant, so really don't quite need the red buff yet. I generally only want to take red buff when I'm in a position where I can actually take advantage of it. In the case of Varus is when you're at 3 items. Here I hit a blind arrow onto the Akshan for a little bit of chunking. So another strength of Varus is of course his poke. So in objective fights, if you can help it, before the start of the objective fight, you want to actually just poke out the enemy team. Here I'm trying to catch the Akshan, but I'm hitting the Ahri instead. Get a relatively nice chunk on the Ahri. Here the set goes in. I exhaust the set immediately so that he doesn't end up killing me. And here Akali comes in for the cleanup, picks up a triple kill. And here we're going to go for the dragon. Now, here Jax basically just tunnel visions on picking up the top lane tower instead of clearing out the Rift Herald, which basically causes Pantheon to have to detour to clear out the Rift Herald, where it should have been 4 of us, inclusive of the Pantheon, coming over to the dragon, and the Jax should be clearing out the Rift Herald before going to top to push, if he really wants to do that. But you'll see that this Jax kind of tries his best to end the game away for us quite a number of times in the game. But yeah, so we're not here to talk about that Jax, we're here to talk about ourselves. He's 0, 1, and 3, not doing too well, but he's not like outright feeding or anything, so I'm not too concerned about that. Me and Akali are really fat though. I'm 4, 0, and not 4, 6, 0, and 4. She's 7, 2, and 1. We are both really fat, so we can probably take fights like 2v2s, 3v3s. Like here, there's the 3 of us, and we see a couple of them over there, but we don't know where everybody is, so we don't want to just blindly run into the enemy's jungle. So what we're going to do is, instead, I'm just going to clear out the mid lane. As usual, getting mid lane priority is pretty important for just basically pressuring the enemy team while you do other things on the map. So here Akali decides to go in 1v3, Nami is there to back her up, I'm going in with the arrow, and Pantheon has ulted in. So here, Pantheon gets chain CC, he dies. I try to get the root off. It does end up going on Wukong and spreading. Wukong goes in a little bit too deep yet again. He dies to Akali. And here I even managed to get the Q onto the Ahri, popping all 3 stacks of my passive on her. Passive W on my W, that is. And yeah, nothing too much comes of it. I guess we end up trading 1-for-1 overall. Jungle for jungle. So overall, in the grand scheme of things, nothing too much happened here. Now Akali is really aggressive. You guys can see she's all the way behind tier 2 bot tower, and she's kind of going behind enemy lines, trying to, I don't know, make a play or something. I don't know. So anyways, I'm gonna back. I'm gonna pick up my Seralda's Grudge. So as I say, this is where Varus hits his strong point. I'm at 3 items with my boot enchant completed. So here I want to take red buff. I'm pinging that I'm on the way. I also did press the can I take buff button a couple of times, but unfortunately for me, the Pantheon decides to be selfish and take the buff for himself. Now, if you're the jungler, I always say this, don't do this. Like, if you're gonna benefit from the buff more than the ADC, yeah, you should take it. But look at this scenario. We have a 2, 4, and 9 Pantheon. He's at like 8k gold. I'm at 11k gold with 3 items. I'm 6, 0, and 5. Clearly, I'm gonna benefit from the red buff more than this Pantheon, but he still takes it anyway. He doesn't care. So, it is what it is. So when these things happen, don't get tilted, don't get pissed off. You just play the game, continue playing the game. Here another fight kind of starts breaking out. I'm of course going to be in the back line, just trying to shoot arrows at whoever I can, avoiding the Senna route. And here Akali is at the side, seeing if she can get a flank off. Nothing too much happens, and surprisingly, a lot of poking here and there, but no one really dies. No one really even takes any significant damage. So a lot of times in this particular match, it kind of happens like that, where looks like a fight is going to break out. People poke here and there, no fight really breaks out in the end, which is fine. There is no problem with that. And here enemy team trying to pressure the tier 2 mid. I'm just going to clear it out with my arrows. Varus wave clear is pretty decent, of course, with his arrows. I'm trying to lose another arrow there to see if I can hit anybody. So here we're pinging to retreat, because we can see the enemy team rotating up towards top. Now, unfortunately for me, I have to defend this mid lane tower from the minions, so I'm going to be a little bit late on the rotation to the top lane. So here I'm using the blast plant to rotate a little bit faster. Unfortunately, my team has all basically died by the time I reach there. Pantheon recalling at a very unsafe position considering the enemy team is a 5-stack. So here I'm just going to walk back to base manually and not recall at a dangerous position. Now, as I expected, Pantheon gets dove by literally the entire 5-stack of the enemy team and he dies. So the only consolation is that in the meantime, Akali is actually pushing and nearly gets the bot lane tier 2, but doesn't actually quite manage to do it because Set did respawn. So thankfully for me, I'm Varus, I have good wave clear, so I am able to actually clear out the minions that's pushing onto the inhibitor relatively quickly, such that the enemy team is going to have a problem to siege the inhibitor. So I also had my ult, flash, and exhaust up there, so I was relatively confident, and Zanya's as well, stasis. So I was relatively confident in, of course, defending the tower. So here is of course where the Baron is going to happen. Of course the entire enemy team fall back on Baron. Me and Akali, two-man, trying to go in to help, not help, but trying to basically stop the enemy team from getting Baron. I managed to get kill on Akshan as well as the Set. Then I managed to actually pick up the double onto Wukong, and as a result, I managed to steal the Baron because Senna has basically flashed the wall. And here I even get the hit on Senna, and Jax is able to finish off the kill for a clean ace. Alright, so here is another like kind of questionable moment about what the decision should be. So here we have a wave in mid. Nami's gonna push the wave in mid. Pantheon's pushing the wave in bot. And the dragon is spawned. So what do you do? Do you push with the Nami, do you push with the Pantheon, or do you go for the dragon? Now the decision that I made was actually to take enemy blue buff and then go for dragon, which I don't think is an inherently bad decision, but on the rewatch of the replay, I think I probably should have pushed with the Nami, and then all three of us fall back to the dragon after that. Now, it did turn out in the end that Nami was able to pick up mid lane inhib and get out with her life. Pantheon was able to pick up the bot lane tier 2 and escape really easily as well. So it turns out that this is actually the best case scenario, but still on the rewatch, I think that a better move would have been to push with Nami and then fall back to the dragon later on. But hey, you know, in this case, we get the best of both worlds. Doesn't really make it the right decision, but it's definitely not the wrong decision. But I still think probably helping out Nami would have been better. Speaking of which, here I am actually going to help out Nami. Here, Set goes in on Nami. I exhaust the Set, and I am able to finish him off relatively easily considering how fed I am. In the meantime, Jax is able to work together with Pantheon to actually get the top lane inhibitor as well. So the enemy team is just getting pulled all around the map and losing their two inhibitors already. So of course, the last inhibitor standing is in the bot lane. So here, honestly, there are two moves that could be made. The first move is, as a 5-stack, we go barrel down bot lane and force the final inhibitor or try to siege it at the minimum. The second possibility is basically group up like in the mid lane and try to just push for a team fight win and the end. Personally, I think pushing for the inhibitor is going to be a better option because you could transition to ending the game or transition into a team fight from taking the inhibitor, but in this case, my team kind of doesn't really want to cooperate. I'm actually spam pinging here the group at bot lane, assist me, but no one is really kind of responding. Instead, Akali and Jax are going down mid lane and Pantheon was pushing top. So instead, I'm like, okay, fine. Let's try the alternative approach, which is everybody runs down mid, gets a team fight victory, and win the game right off of that. So here Jax finally does something right, goes over to block the Akshan ultimate from the Nami so she doesn't get chunked out. And here we're just basically trying to poke people with our arrows. We can't really do all that much. You know, as in direct combat, we just basically want to poke people out. Here I get charmed by the Ahri. I managed to get the root in on the Wukong clone, which is not the ideal target, but that's managed to actually spread to the Ahri. In the meantime, I'm kind of getting messed up by Wukong and Set. I managed to actually stasis to survive there, and then I managed to actually finish off, not me really, but Akali manages to get a triple kill and finish all of them off. So here is basically where I'm like, alright, we can probably end the game. Only Senna and Akshan are left alive, so we can kind of force the end. We are 4v2 at the moment. They do have the base advantage though, so here we have a wave in mid, and a wave is coming in at top actually. So here we're gonna see if we can try to end the game. Here top wave is coming in. In between attacking the base, I'm just trying to poke them out. Akshan sees an opportunity to go in on me, but it really isn't because Jax is around. He ends up blowing his GA. I have my full charge ready. I managed to finish him off. And with that, it's a clean ace and it's a clean game. So really nice Baron steal from me that really kind of turned the tide of the game, considering how even this game really was. And I think that that play kind of won us the entire game. But either way, I'm gonna be leaving you guys with the stats as usual. So thank you so much for watching the video, guys, and goodbye.